Well, hey, my fellow veterans out there, how you doing today? Hey, here in Northeast Ohio, it was actually a nice, beautiful, sunny day. We actually had some sun, but I've had this John Cougar Mellencamp song going through my head all day today because of the guest we have on today. There's the lyrics, but if you really want to taste some cool success, you better learn to play guitar. That's a very good song by John Cougar Mellencamp. So, let's go ahead and let's get this show started, though, shall we? You know what, folks? I forgot to load up that video, so hold on one second. We'll get it going here. I gotta apologize to everybody. I took my son out to dinner tonight, and we got back not too long ago. And it's always a fun time when I take him out. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, that John Cougar Mellencamp song been going through my head all day today. But that's because of the guest we have on today. Let's go ahead and welcome Mike Grega to the show. And Mike is part of a group called Guitars for Veterans. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on tonight.
It's an honor to have you on. You guys do some good work. So one thing we need to start off with is how did Guitar for Vets get started?
Well, the national organization, anyway, got started up in Milwaukee in 2007. The Cleveland chapter, which is what I'm the coordinator of, started kind of way back in 2010. I had just retired. I was fortunate enough to have a union job where I got to retire early. I was only 56 at the time, and I've been playing guitar for a while, just a strummer and stuff. And my son lived in Chicago, and he was in a band, and they played for a benefit called Guitars for Vets up in Milwaukee, which wasn't too far from Chicago. And I didn't know anything about it. After he got done, he said, "Hey, Dad, I met this guy from Guitars for Vets. He said it might be something you're interested in." So he sent me an email, had the link and everything. So I emailed back to them and said, I've been strumming, I've been playing for 20 odd years, whatever. And I said, maybe I can help out with the Cleveland chapter of Guitars for Vets. Well, unbeknownst to me, and the actual response came back, "So you want to start a chapter in Cleveland?" And I said, I don't know how you got that. I don't know how you got that from what I sent you, but I said, I'll give it a try. I'm retired now. I've been playing for a while. And so even though I live in Lorain County, it seemed to me that the best place to get started would be the VA in Cleveland. I had heard the VA in Cleveland is like the second largest in the country.
Yes.
But it seemed to me like it had to start in Cleveland, even though my trip out there each week was going to be a few miles. So it's like it's like, where do I start? I mean, there's so many departments, so many different things in the Cleveland VA that it was probably September-ish, October, November when I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I just started contacting people out there, tried to figure out what would be the best departments, where do I start? So it kind of turned out that a lot of things that we hear about with veterans is a PTSD aspect, and just from the start, Guitars for Vets is not music therapy. We get kind of related to something like that, but we're not psychiatrists, psychologists. We just try our best to help out when we can. But the interesting thing about setting up at the VA is that we don't pick the veterans that are going to participate in the program. We need the input from the personnel, the VA personnel, the doctors, the nurses, whatever department that they're in. We get that input. We want to make sure that the veteran that starts the program has a good chance of completing. Now, not everybody completes the program when we get started, but we need that input. So they administered the applications and have to provide a place for us to practice and things like that. But so when we did get started, the psychiatric day hospital at the VA just seemed to be a perfect fit, and it still is to this day. Now we've gone through a couple other areas at the VA that didn't work out, but recreation therapy and the psychiatric day hospital are the two that we have continued to work in. Now I have to backtrack a little bit and say that the COVID debacle kind of messed everything up for providing lessons at the VA, which I'm sure you could imagine.
Yes.
So we were actually out of commission for more than 3 years, and to be honest, we haven't really gotten back into the VA to give the lessons, and it's been close to 4 years now. And in the interim, there are voluntary badges and things that we have to go through, and they went through a different system, so we kind of have to start over. But the COVID problem, being able to meet face to face, we tried to do some things online during COVID. It just didn't quite work out. There's a problem with two people playing guitar in two different locations. They just never quite match up. Which
yeah,
I'm sure
I can imagine the problem with that.
Yeah. So we've been working on that. The nice part is that the National Guitars for Vets started to affiliate with VFWs and said that in the interim, while essentially Guitars for Vets was knocked out of virtually every VA across the country, but they allowed us to start getting together at VFWs. That allowed, just another venue for a non-medical type of venue where we could give lessons. So again, being with the Cleveland VA, we picked there's a Cleveland VFW. It's post 2533, I believe. It's on 150th and Lorraine. So they had hosted some events for us. We do a spaghetti dinner out there almost every year. And so we said, let's give that a shot. They were all for it. Bring some more people out there. There's a large room that they rent out, but we came up with a certain day basically that we could give lessons in the afternoon. So as long as the veterans could get to that venue, then we were able to get started. So we started that at the beginning of 2023, and we think the success, I think we graduated 12 veterans that first year, and we were real happy with that.
Oh,
so,
man, fantastic.
Yep.
So how do you pick?
So
How do you pick what veterans get into the program?
Again, if they are at the VA, then we get the input from the personnel at the VA facility. The VFW, one of the instructors decided that he'd be willing to take care of the enrollment at the VFW. So basically, we recruited, just to start with, the members of the VFW, the Cleveland VFW. but we tried to get the word out that it's open to any veterans. The criteria basically is that they can't have been dishonorably discharged. So there's I'll start right up. I'm not a veteran. That was when I started the chapter. That was the first question that I had. Do I have to be a veteran? And they said no, definitely not. That wasn't a criteria for starting a chapter. But myself and the other instructors, it's like, if there's something that we can do to, strumming a guitar and helping a veteran, learn some songs, and that's the very least that we can do. But anyway, Dennis Ward is a veteran, and he's one of the volunteer instructors. But he takes charge of the VFW. People can contact me either through Facebook, which is basically the way you and I got together, or we have a G4V Cleveland@gmail.com. They can drop a line to me that way, and I put them in touch with Dennis, and we go from there for the VFW part. So.
As a matter of fact, let me put that email up here. I know I got it written down here somewhere.
Yeah, it's G, the number 4V, Cleveland@gmail.com. And I monitor that daily, if multiple times a day, to if I get any. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
It. So you can
All right.
there. Same on Facebook. It's Guitars for Vets -Cleveland, and anybody can drop a line to me there or send a message through Messenger, and I'll get back as soon as I can. So
yeah,
but that's
Messenger
basically
work.
what we're looking for there. So, yep. Yeah. So the criteria at the VFW is we have usually we have like 4 instructors that'll work. It's basically on Mondays from either 4 to 5 or 5 to 6. So the room that we're in is a large room, so we can be in 4 different corners, and one lesson doesn't really affect the other one. So we can accommodate basically 4 or 8 veterans at a time. Sometimes we're able to double up with the instructors that we have. So we do that. Again, at the VFW, we haven't abandoned the VA. It's just a longer process. I actually did get my volunteer badge reinstated about a week ago, and the hardest part is just going through the administrative part there. But we're anxious to get back in there. We think the work that we do at the VA is really important, and we don't want to abandon that. It's just taking a little longer to get back in than we would hope. So
right. Yeah, I know all about that red tape. My organization, we do a Christmas card drive every year, and oh man, they give us a hassle at first, and now I'm trying to do puzzle books for veterans, bring puzzle books and pencils and stuff in for the patients. So we're trying to get that all worked out. Had a couple publishers decided to donate, so we got the books. We just waiting for them to say yes. Okay, come and do it. So, and for those of you who are watching live here, if you notice, we do have a chat. So if you got any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll get you on the show. Now,
sounds good.
How long is the program?
When we first started, and again, this November-ish is going to be like our 13th anniversary. But when we first started, when the chapter was started in Cleveland, we were only one of about 20 chapters in the country. And we were the first one in Ohio to get organized. Everything kind of runs through the Guitars for Vets National in Milwaukee. So that's where everything was set up from. It was a little, they were just getting off the ground. They were probably only like 3 years into the program and decided to branch out. So there were some growing pains for them too. When we first started, there were 6 lessons required. It's one lesson per week, and all of the lessons are one-on-one for the veterans. So there's no there's no peer pressure or any kind of, thing like that. If somebody knows a little bit more about a guitar than you do, you don't, when you're in a group of a lot of people and somebody asks if there's any questions, everybody looks around, and if nobody's raising their hand, no matter how many questions you have, the questions don't get asked. So all the lessons are one-on-one. So we set them up that way. In the interim, when everything started to get more organized at the national level, they did increase it to 10 lessons. So it's 10 weeks. Very seldom do they ever go in order. There's always a vacation or something that comes up. And then that's not a problem. They don't have, there's always, because they're volunteer instructors and the veterans, there are always things that come up. So it very seldom ever goes. I don't think, maybe we've never had one went 10 weeks in a row, but it's 10 weeks, an hour per lesson. They have it organized so well at the national level. They're affiliated with Salesforce, and so the volunteer instructors go on each week and add the information for the lesson that they just gave, and whether or not maybe a veteran missed it and had a excused absence or whatever. But all of that information is done online now. So we used to have to do things by paper, scan them, send them to the national, and now it's all handled through Salesforce. So once you get over the learning curve of that, then it's really easy. And then I can, because I'm the coordinator, then I can check in and make sure that everything's up to date. When the guitars are presented and the packages are presented at the end of the program, when the veterans graduate from that, then I have to enter the information for the serial number on the guitar, et cetera, the dates of everything. And so I have access to that too. So
now, is there any cost to the veteran?
Yeah. There's no cost whatsoever to the veteran, no. Typically the veterans, don't have a guitar. The people in Greater Cleveland, be it Cuyahoga, Lorain County, have been so generous. And you can ask my wife how many guitars I have in the basement that have been donated. But guitars get donated to us, and we actually accept other musical instruments too. I think we had a piano, an electric piano, the first time that we had that. But if a veteran needs a guitar, donated guitars come in. I check them out, and the instructors check them out to make sure that they're easy enough to play. That was, I don't know if you play guitar, but when I first started, there's certain chords you just get so if it's hard to, granted, fingertips when they're hard to play, it's just not easy to do. So we provide a practice guitar if they need one. And so usually when a guitar comes in, we always have to put strings on it. We have volunteers that have said, hey, work on acoustic guitars, we can drop them off to them and they'll fix them. If we have electric guitars, there are other people that work on those. So we have a nice network of people that'll help with the so we provide what they need for the lessons. At the end of the 10 weeks, then usually about the 8th week, the instructors let me know, and I have to order the guitar, and it comes in. The package comes into my house, and I check the things in, and then I always try to make it out when the veteran graduates so that I can be there. We get a picture of the veteran and put it on Facebook and stuff. But they get a package, a brand new acoustic guitar with all the bells and whistles, not just the guitar. I mean, they get a gig bag to come with it. They get a tuner. They get extra set of strings. They get a stand to put the guitar on. It's a really nice package. So that makes it worthwhile. But I mean, the veterans do have to complete the program. We have had, some instances where, for whatever reason, maybe they, a veteran may move. When we were working at the VA, we tried working at the domiciliary where some of the homeless veterans stay, and we tried to work that out. It was difficult though if some of the veterans, which we were always happy if they, were able to get a place to stay, but when they left the dom, then it made it difficult to try to complete the lessons. So it was difficult in that way. That again, there were certain areas we worked in. It just didn't quite work out in the long term, but
Yeah.
But we try to work it out that way. So
Now, you told how you got involved. Have you found it rewarding doing this type of work?
yeah, and to the person, even the instructors. When I first started, I was an instructor also. Once we got a lot busier and I had more instructors, then I could kind of back off from that. But for one thing, the lessons last an hour. When you first get started, I even mentioned to the volunteers, it's like, we go over some of the things about the guitar, but it's just as much of a listening session too. And that's why it's nice that they're private, they're one-on-one. So we learn things about the veterans, they learn things about us. And like I say, to a person, the instructors say they get as much out of giving the lessons as the veterans hopefully get from taking the lessons there. So it is very rewarding. It's rewarding in a different kind of way too, because again, we start to learn more and more about the veterans, the problems that they have. And I bring this up, and it's still to this day, it affects me. But one of the local TV stations around Veterans Day did a story on us, and they wanted to interview some of the instructors, but they wanted to interview a couple of the veterans that had gone through the program. And there's a gentleman, I won't mention him right by name, but he still helps us out with Guitars for Vets. And none of us knew this until we saw the story that ended up on TV, was that he actually said that he was considering suicide. And we've already discussed a little about the suicide stuff. He was considering suicide. He said that Guitars for Vets kind of saved his life, getting a guitar and stuff.
Oh,
And
man, fantastic.
When we hear something like that, like I say, it still affects me to this day to know that. And so that's one of the things that's very important. We're kind of a musical group and a musical organization, but I mean, in one sense, maybe, that hopefully, if there's anything that we can do as a suicide prevention type thing, then we would be more than happy to accept that handle. But it's not a primary thing that we think about all the time, but it's one thing that happens. I had got one of the veterans that had gone through the program some years ago, and I had to look him up because I keep all the records of the veterans that graduated. And he said basically the same thing. He said getting a guitar just saved his life, turned his life around. And when we go through the lessons, we pretty much know that a veteran that hasn't had any musical instruction ever, and he might be. I mean, I'm 69 years old. I mean, I've a lot of the veterans are Vietnam era type things that have gone through, and they may not have had any musical background at all. In 10 weeks, we're not going to turn out Bruce Springsteen people, but we say there's if you can get a series of 3 chords, there's hundreds of songs that you can play with 3 chords. And if we can get those 3 chords to the veteran, and he can, they can start to where they feel good about themselves, and then we feel great for having done something like that. So.
A good friend of mine actually just chimed in here in the chat. His name's Bart Crow. And Bart is going through the program down in Florida in New Smyrna Beach. And a little info about Bart is Bart helps run an organization called Creative Vets. They take veterans that have absolutely no artistic ability, and they put them through, correct me if I'm wrong, Bart, but I think it's a 3-week program where they have to create a painting or a sculpture, or some type of art like that. And
oh, nice.
And so to have Bart come on and say that he's in your program it's awesome. And
Yep, that's. And
then
like I say, there's over 100 chapters in the country now, and there were only 20 when, about 20 when it started around in Ohio, and now there's six chapters in Ohio, so that it's grown leaps and bounds for sure.
And then our number one fan here, Becky Lee, says that Bart's doing good there. So, all right. Oh, and she also loves Guitar for Vets. So there we go. Thanks,
Good.
Becky. Good to see you again, Becky. Yeah, Becky's been a friend and follower for quite a while now. So I don't know if
nice.
Matt Eck ever told you, but I advocated for the PACT Act. That's that
Okay.
burn pit bill, along with John Stewart and Burn Pits 360 and some other organizations. They that's how I met Becky online. It was through that. And so it's always good to see her come on and chime in. And now,
nice.
In order for someone to become an instructor with your group, what prerequisites do they have to have? Well, of course, they got to know how to play guitar.
They don't have to be master musicians. They don't have to. I'm not, and never was a professional instructor. I think we've actually had one gentleman that was actually gave lessons at the time, but most of us are just strummers, and it may sound funny, but one of the, aside from being able to play those three chords that, that you can get the 100 songs from, basically it's just being to be a listener, to be compassionate, to be, and it's hard to tell though. It's hard to, to make an application that would ask for all those qualities, but usually you can just tell by when somebody says they want to do it. That's the first thing, is knowing that they're going to donate some of their time to do something like this. And we had one gentleman. He's still an instructor. He was actually an employee out at the VA, Greg Zamina, and he would stay after. He was in charge of the radiology department out there, but he would stay after and give 1 or 2 lessons, so an hour, maybe 2 hours extra. And he lived out in LaGrange, so I mean the trip from the from the east side of Cleveland all the way back to LaGrange each day.
Yeah, that's driving a half, man.
8 hours of work in a medical community. He's got to do you. Got to mess you up each day a little bit, but he would volunteer to stay after, and he's still active in doing that and helping out. So one thing that makes me think about is that even when your previous Bart had mentioned about having the veterans do something, one thing that we tried to institute that we think is really nice, partway through, we would offer, a couple of the veterans that went through the program at the VA got together and decided they were going to use some of their time at the VA and some of the programs they were in to just practice, because they wanted to practice. They'd get together every week, and one thing led to another, and they would get together, and the personnel at the VA decided to let that be part of the group activity that they had to do. That was something they could do. More and more people got involved, and they did it without even our knowledge, but we caught wind of it because we were down at the VA. And we said, well, we'll get together and I'll provide chord charts, simple charts with easy chords. If the chords were hard in a song, I changed them to a key that they'd be able to use a little better. So we'd bring down copies, and we'd sit in and just kind of let them do whatever they wanted. They'd pick out the songs they wanted, and so we would practice those. And we would do fundraising events where we put together what we call a G for V band. Most of the instructors can at least play guitar, but we have enough to get drummer, bass player. We have friends that come in, and we can put a full band together. So we would do that at some of the events. But we came up with the idea: why don't we invite the veterans that have gone through the program to come up and play with us? The G4V band will be the background, and it's like, okay, we're going to pick out 3, 4, 5 songs. We're going to work on them, really hard, so that we all get them. So that we would start the program, and then invite the veterans that have gone through to come up on stage with us with their guitar, a microphone if they want to sing. One of the veterans that went through the program, we said we're going to start a tambourines for vets, because she played tambourine and she could sing and keep a beat. So we kept those things going. But it was nice because they would bring their whole family up, and it would just be such a proud moment to be able to do that. And so every event that we've had, and granted, COVID just kind of messed things up for everybody, but we still want to do that. Even at the VFW now, we once a month at least to get started, we stay after when the lessons are done on Monday. It's always the second Monday of the month, and we call it a workshop, but it's more to just like a guitar circle. The instructors will stick around, other people will come in. Everybody's they don't have to be part of the G4V Guitars for Vets program. Any veteran that can play, or if they want to come in and sing, or if they just want to listen, it's always the second Monday of the month at 6 o'clock at the Cleveland VFW 2533. Then we just get together and do that for a couple hours, and then we bring somebody mentions a song, or if I think of a song that I think that might be good, we try to make a dozen copies or so to hand out to everybody, and we just stick around and play with. When the veteran gets their guitar, we certainly don't want it to end up in a closet somewhere. So we try to provide a venue for the veterans to keep going, to be interested, and hopefully it keeps them going that way. So.
Smoking Bob Leonard said it's good to see you again.
Yep, he's one of our first couple of groups of veterans that we had at the VA. He was one of our graduates, and he still helps us out he's our G4V spokesperson. Whenever anybody, especially at the VA, whenever they have any questions or anything, he's the liaison to get things going. So Smoking Bob, yep, he was one of the early graduates, and is, like I say, still a big supporter and a good friend. So. And his birthday was just a couple of days ago. So
seeing if he wants to come on here.
Yeah. But it's nice at the Cleveland chapter anyway. We presented guitars to 76 veterans since we started the program, and again,
wow.
that's there was about 3 years. There's Bob, Smoking Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, how you?
Hi, Bob. Nice to meet you.
Same here.
So I understand you've gone through the Guitar for Vets program.
Yes. Yeah, I'm one of the first 5 or 6 that started with the group over at Wade Park, VA.
Oh, okay.
I think it's been about maybe 10 years ago, huh, Mike?
Yep. Yeah. It's actually, time flies. I think it's been more like 12 years, but.
Or 12.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Yep. I'm very grateful for the program. It's helped me tremendously. I'm actually one of the people that was considering suicide.
He froze. Nope.
And that's why we don't go. That's why we don't do guitar lessons on Zoom.
Oh.
So they voted me in as that was another thing that made me feel good, because I like helping people. And, yesterday was my birthday. And, I
Happy
got,
birthday again.
Yes, happy
yeah,
birthday, Bob.
yeah, thanks. It's just, I'm glad this is going on online here tonight. I'm glad I have the opportunity to come on and, talk a little bit. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? I'm
Well,
willing to answer them.
you would. I hope this isn't out of line here, but you had mentioned that you were considering suicide. At what point during the program did you realize that you no longer wanted to do that?
Yeah, well, it's not the program wasn't the only thing that helped me make that decision, but it played a tremendous role in keeping me occupied so I wouldn't have to think about those kind of things. My past, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
the thing is that it's a organization that, you know, allows you to be yourself. You
Yes.
feel, it's a group. You, you know, I didn't, I didn't know nothing about playing guitar when I first started, and I don't think I do now.
You're too modest, Bob.
Well, our number one fan, Becky Lee, just posted in our other chat. She said, "Happy birthday, Strum and Smoking Bob, and thanks for helping veterans as you do."
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's when Mike sent out the word he was going to be online tonight. Uh, you know, I got all excited about it. And I'm
Yeah.
keeping track, Mike. I want to, if you make any mistakes, I'll let you know. Okay.
Yep. Yeah,
Well,
I had Bob in the background keeping track for me. So.
well,
Yeah.
well. Before we went on the air, Mike and I were talking. Last year, I organized along with Cleveland Cavaliers and a few other organizations a what we called Rally Against Suicide, and we promoted a positive atmosphere. We had music, we had free food, we had some veterans organizations that offer services to veterans there,
Oh,
and we're inviting Mike and the group to come to this year's event. And Mike mentioned something about maybe some vets coming down and playing at the event. And we would be
sure.
honored, Bob, if you would come too.
I'd love to. It all depends on when it is. You
It's
know.
gonna it's
Yep.
gonna be in September. We're not quite
Oh,
sure the day yet.
okay.
Um, we trying to last year it was on the same day as the Pickle Festival, and
Oh,
they were just like a block and a half away. So it kind of took some people away from us, but all in all, we helped some veterans out. We helped some other people out. People had a good time. So, and we're going to have more organizations there this year. So we would be honored if you would come and down with Mike and have a good time with us.
I'll be there. No
All
problem.
right.
I look forward to it. I think
Yeah,
it's
you'll be invited for sure. So.
Yes.
I I'm more than happy to help. I'm more than happy to be there because I'm grateful for everything Guitar for Vets has done for me. I can tell you that. And I still have the guitar that was given to me, and the my instructor was Jim Riley. He's one of the instructors. He was the instructor that helped me through those 10 weeks. And it's it's been a pleasure to be part of Guitar for Vets, especially knowing that that's how it all started. One vet helping another.
Yes.
And some of the instructors weren't even in the military. You know, and yet they have the understanding and the ability to communicate with us, because it's a different type of atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
And to be part of it and to know that somebody cares is very important. They've been very helpful to me. Sometimes I strum the wrong note, the wrong chord, but they don't put you down for it. They help you. You know what I mean? They help you get over it and just keep going. You don't have to feel bad about anything. I wish more veterans would get into this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they're I'm you know I don't know what else to say. The only thing is, you don't know until you try. Until you come in. You don't have to know
Yep.
anything. I didn't, and these guys help you out. They really do. Mike runs a good ship. You know what I mean?
Good, good. Well, that's the reason why I do this podcast, is to get information out to our brothers and sisters so they learn about organizations like this.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Well, that's good.
when I was in Washington D.C. and some veterans came, I I don't know if you heard the part where I advocated for the PACT Act, the burn pit bill. And when I was in Washington D.C. and we were sleeping on the steps of the Capitol and everything, some veterans that weren't normally with us showed up and they were asking these different organizations for help, and they were getting turned away.
Huh.
And I'm like, that's got to stop, you know?
Wow.
And the sad part about it was, I can understand an organization only helping certain type of veterans, depending on, the resources that they have. But
Yeah.
if you can't help that veteran, have the knowledge or the information to send them to who can help them. So that's
Right.
why, one, I started this podcast, and two, I started my organization, was to eliminate that, educate everybody on what's going on. So if a veteran is having a hard time trying to figure out the type of aid or services that they need, they can come to us and say, "Hey, we'll help you out. Help you figure it out and get you to where you need to go, get you in contact with those people." So, and since good friend of not only mine but with Mike's mentioned Mike to me, I said, "Yeah, this is definitely an organization we need to get on here and let people know about." So, and
All
you
right.
coming on here and giving your testimony is fantastic. Matter of fact, even Becky Lee thinks so too. She just
Becky
posted.
Lee. All right.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Yes.
It's almost
Yes.
as cool as smoking Bob Lenart. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
But,
You know, I'll tell you, it's, there's a lot of veterans that are committing suicide.
right.
Okay. Every day. And that's a big problem. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that veterans, I could say that because I believe we're a brotherhood, you
Yes,
know,
we are. Yeah.
and there's a lot of veterans that aren't aware of different groups that can help them too, you know.
Right.
But I'll tell you, you put a guitar in their hand and give them give them a chance to learn how to play it the whatever amount they can. Like myself, I'm not, I know maybe three or four chords, and all you need to know is three main ones, and
Yep.
it's just amazing what it can do for someone's need to relax, okay,
Yes.
and to take your mind off the things that you don't need to be thinking about. That's what it did for me. You those guys in Guitar for Vets, and I think I can speak for the ones in all the other VAs also. Those guys are open to helping a veteran. You know,
Mhm.
if you need some help, whether you're going to commit suicide or not, okay, especially that, give give them a chance to help us. To help you. Reach out and ask for help. And if you see me around the hospital over here at Wade Park or Parma, you stop me at any time, and I'm more than happy to give you my time and any information that I can, or I'll lead you to the right people.
I think I've seen you
Oh
at
my
Wade Park,
gosh! Oh
because
man,
I'm at Wade Park at least 2 or 3 times a week.
is that
So
right?
yes.
What capacity, if I could ask?
Well, mostly as a patient, but sometimes,
Oh,
sometimes I'll come in there and like around Christmas time, I come in with the Cavaliers. We do a Christmas card drive and we give Christmas cards and T-shirts and everything away. And we're going to start bringing puzzle books to the patients up there here very
great.
soon. So,
Great.
but what you mentioned the suicide and everything, I think right now would be a good time to mention that we have a petition and an email campaign going on to try to get September 22nd named as National Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day.
Oh, okay.
September is National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. So we're trying to, and the number 22 is with veterans. So for those of you who will be listening in on audio later on Apple and Spotify, the link to the petition will be in the description. So will how you can get in contact with Guitars for Vets, not just a Cleveland affiliate, but their national. So if you live in, let's say, Arkansas, you can find chapters there close to you in Arkansas.
Exactly.
And also in this description too, we'll put in how you can get involved with that email campaign, and we'll go from there.
Fantastic. I'll tell you. I'm glad I'm online today. I'm glad
I'm glad you're on here too.
I didn't think
Here, Mike was worried that we weren't going to have enough information to fill a whole hour, but we're just pretty close to it. So now,
Yep.
as now you mentioned something about a guitar at the end of the program. So if a veteran completes the 10 weeks, you said they get a guitar and some other stuff as well.
You're asking me?
Asking Mike.
Mike. Okay, go on, Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a pack National Guitars for Vets puts together. It consists of a brand new acoustic guitar. The models change every now and then depending on, and but they get that and all the bells and whistles that go with it, and it's a really nice package that they get to keep. So
now I think would be a pretty good time to put up the slide I got with information on how to get in contact with you. There we are. The guitarsforvets.org, that is the national website. Now I put Cleveland's email down there. Now, if you don't live in Northeast Ohio, I'm sure if you go to guitarsforvets.org, they'll have a contact button on there to where you can contact them to help you locate a chapter near you.
Yep.
And
yeah, there's a chapters. There's a chapter link on there for any. There's also a way if you want to make a donation. There's donation information on there too. So that's helpful. So.
Or if you'd like to start a chapter, maybe the national website will probably even be able to help you with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's a link for that also. So.
And yeah, I went on there briefly a few days ago, and there's a lot of good information on there. So check it out, people.
Yep.
Now, let me get back to the chat here because it looks like somebody posted something. Oh, yeah. Becky Lee there backing up what you said about what they all get. Becky, did you go through this program? Let's see what she says here in a second. Now, while we're waiting on Becky to reply, if she replies, I'm going to ask a favor of you guys. If you know of any veterans that are in need of a...
Here it is.
Yep, she just replied that she used to work for Gibson. So I take it Gibson is a guitar manufacturer.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew that.
I know they make Epiphone guitars too, and that's I think the current one that the Guitars for Vets is giving to veterans is an Epiphone brand. So.
Okay. See, I used to be a drummer, so I kind of shy away from saying that I do know who makes guitars and stuff. So, but I haven't played the drums since in 32 years. So, or is it even more than that? I think it's 34 actually. Right before it was the matter of fact, it was the night before I shipped off the Desert Storm. It's the last time I played. So,
you still got your set?
No.
Oh, okay.
All right. My parents gave them to my nieces and nephews, and who knows where it's all at now. So,
you got to pick up a guitar, buddy. You got to pick up a guitar.
I'm thinking I just might.
Yep.
I finally picked up a harmonica for the first time here just a few weeks ago. Since I was in the war, so I'm getting back into that. So,
yeah, even that, you know, we got.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, we have a workshop on the second Monday of every month. You're more than welcome to come out and join us. So.
I just might come up and learn how to play guitar. I still got that John Cougar Mellencamp song going through my head, folks. I think you missed the very beginning there, Bob. I put this up here. I took it off. I can put it back up here real quick. I put up this slide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's lyrics from a John Cougar Mellencamp song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the song's called Play Guitar. And the lyrics that I put up is but if you really want to taste some cool success, you better learn to play guitar. So ever since matter of fact, ever since Mike agreed to come on, that song's been pretty much going through my head since then. So yes.
Well, now it'll be in all of our heads too. So
yes. Who knows if I start coming up and taking lessons from you guys, maybe we could at the rally we can play that song. Who knows?
Sure. Yep. Okay.
There you go. Mike said sure.
All right. Yeah, because I'm kind of free on Mondays at that time, so we'll see.
What is it? Second Monday of the month. You know what I mean?
Yep.
For the jam session, but I'm thinking about coming up every week to actually learn some chords.
There you go.
I've never picked up a guitar in my life, so I
neither did I. Well, I might have picked one up.
Yeah, there's not there's no criteria that you have to have played before. So
Yeah.
You're
This might be
gonna-
something I need to do.
you know what? You're going to have a good time. Believe me. Especially
Good.
You know, it's well worth it. Well worth it. Here we go. Becky said, did you see what Becky said?
Yep. She's loving the melon can quote. All right.
Well,
now,
I appreciate your coming on to help out tonight. So.
If you guys can stick on after we go off the air here in a minute, I'd appreciate that. But
Sure.
kind of start wrapping things up, and I always end up with this every single episode. Is all right. For those of you who don't know, you should know by now because it's been a while, but the new Veterans Crisis Line number is 988, then press 1. You are guaranteed to get a live therapist or a live licensed therapist on the line with you. No more leaving a message and getting a call back. No more operator putting you on hold. As soon as you call, you're going to get a licensed therapist on the line. So put that on speed dial in your cell phones, folks. I do. It's there. And that's about it.
Thank
guys.
you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's my honor doing that stuff. It's meeting a lot of good people like you. So
Thanks.
Welcome.
Hope to see you out at the FW and with a guitar in your hand pretty soon.
I think so.
Well, if
we'll do updates on here as I go through the program. How's that?
Yeah. Michael, give me one. I'll pick it up. I'll bring it out to you.
All right.
Right, Mike?
All right. Well, folks, let's see. Who do I have on next? Not next week. Next week is Valentine's Day, so I'm going to spoil my wife a little. All right, folks. But the week after that, we have... Who do we have? We are bringing on a veteran who ever since she came home from the war has been having a lot of health problems. And she was helped by the PACT Act and other programs out there. So she's going to come on, give us her story on why it's important to be proactive with your health care when you're a veteran. All right, so that's in 2 weeks. No show next week, but in 2 weeks we'll have her on. And then in the month of March, we're going to have a gentleman who's with the VFW, and he handles all the Ohio legislative issues, and he does all the research on them and everything. So he's going to come on and talk about some pending legislation in the state of Ohio. And for those of you from other states, if you could find out who does it for your state through the VFW, get in contact with me so I can get in contact with them so we can get them on to talk about your state. And this is important. And I know, Mike, you might be interested in this. One of the pending bills in the Ohio Congress is a bill that's going to name a highway after our friend from Irreverent Warrior, Robert Schwank. It's going to name a highway after his son, Austin.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Robert's son, Austin, was a Marine that was stationed in Camp Lejeune. And make it short, he was murdered on base by a fellow Marine. So the state of Ohio is going to name a highway after him, and that bill better pass. Let's put it that way. It better. Most likely it will. It's got a lot of support, so it's gonna. But on a good note here, folks, Guitar for Vets. Check them out. Let's put that up there one more time so people can see. All right, guitarforvets.org. For those listening on audio, it's going to be in the description. Hey, this is a good organization, folks. So let's for those of you who do get into the program, get in contact with us. Let us know how it's working for you, and maybe we can get you on here with Mike and a couple other people and promote Guitar for Vets even more. So thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.